So on a video I posted last week, I was doing a little bit of a channel update as well as talking about some of the new upcoming releases. And I asked you guys if you had any video topics you wanted me to do just to let me know. And somebody asked me to do 10 designer fragrances for life. So if I had the choice of only 10 designer fragrances to keep and all of the rest of the fragrances get rid of, what would I do? Well, I had a really hard time doing this, so I actually picked 12. So today we're going to be talking about 12 fragrances for life, 12 designer fragrances for life. If I could only keep 12, which ones would I? And so that's what we're talking about today. Without further ado, let's get it. What's crack-a-lackin', my great smelling dudes? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Randy, aka Fragrance Dude, back at you with another fragrance video, doing some whiffing and some sniffing, talking about some of the best fragrances in my collection, the ones that I wear the most. And it is a topic brought to you from one of you guys, and it is 12 designer fragrances for life. Or if I had to pick 12 designer fragrances to keep for the rest of my life, and that is it, no other fragrances, which ones would I choose? And so that is what we're going to be talking about today. Before we get into it, if you're not already, hit the subscribe button, smash that like. Takes 2 seconds, and it helps out the channel. And then comment below and let me know some fragrances that you would keep for life. And honestly, some of you guys are going to say, are you kidding me? You would pick that above this? Or I would go with this. This is what I wear the most as far as designer fragrances are concerned. I had trouble. I wanted to pick some private. I'm leaving private blends out of here. I'm leaving like really unknown, like whether is it designer, is it not? I'm leaving all that kind of stuff out of this. So this is going to be the well-known designers. And with that said, I had a lot of trouble. So instead of picking 10, I picked 12. We're going to get started with it though. One of them, if you've been watching my channel, most of this shouldn't surprise you. But the first one is one of my favorite fragrances. I'm wearing it all the time nowadays, and I should wear it today. I haven't worn it in a while. I spray it a ton because it smells great. It is Spice Bomb Infrared Eau de Toilette. I like this better than the Eau de Parfum because of the cinnamon and benzoin. That's what this is. It's a cinnamon and benzoin grenade. Just like this. In my first short ever, I threw this, and it bounced off the carpet, and it went into a hard floor and hit off the bedpost, and it broke my original bottle. So I'm not doing that again. But Spice Bomb Infrared Eau de Toilette, it's a bunch of cinnamon, it's a bunch of spice, it's a spice bomb, and it doesn't have the powder of a lot of the other ones in the line. It is just a nice, sweet, cinnamon, fruity bomb because it has this kind of like red fruits, red pepper. It's all blended together, and then you get a bit of tobacco and a bit of woods when you get to the dry down. But it's a cinnamon and benzoin bomb. Benzoin is almost like this resinous, sweet, almost honey-like sweetness. That's what I get from it. That's almost a little bit of a smoky nuance, but yeah, if you like cinnamon, you're going to like this. I just like cinnamon. It's one of my favorite fragrance notes. But that Spice Bomb Infrared Eau de Toilette, I have to keep that. It's like probably one of my top 2 fragrances. And you guys can say whatever, but and this is another one. It was one of my favorite fragrances, if not my favorite fragrance for like the first 2 years of my channel. As far as designers are concerned, and even all fragrances altogether, I do lean designer. So for anybody who might be new to my channel, I lean designer. I like mass appeal. I like my wife to like my fragrances, and I found with Indian Niche, most of the time she doesn't like them. She loves designer fragrances, and so as long as I get good reactions, that's what I like. Personally, I still love them, and this is Azzaro's The Most Wanted. The original Most Wanted is my favorite out of all of them. Toffee, cardamom, amberwood, has a nice bourbon vanilla under there, just like the Parfum, even though it's not in the official note breakdown. It's definitely vanilla, but it's a toffee gourmand. So you get that kind of toffee-like sweetness. You get that like oriental spice from the cardamom, a little bit of a green tone, and then you have that amberwood floating underneath it. And really, that's all you need to know from the fragrance, outside of a little bit of vanilla and a little bit of like maybe some cinnamon. But the fragrance is absolutely one of the best night out fragrances for pretty much any age. I mean, this is popular among 12-year-olds and popular among 45-year-olds. So, 45-year-olds. So, Azara the Most Wanted lasts about 8 hours. Very, very nice. Slight bit powdery, but it's just one of the best gourmand designer fragrances out there. Going into the next one, this one's going to be a shocker to people, but my wife, I've told you guys before, anytime I spray that, she's like, yeah, come here right now. Jump on it. I'm not even kidding. I've told you that before. This is Polo Cologne Intense by Ralph Lauren. Polo Cologne Intense by Ralph Lauren is a modernized version of Polo Green's. It's supposed to be, actually, but it doesn't really smell like Polo Green that much. It is a green fragrance. It's minty, herbaceous, but then fresh and zingy. And the fragrance has this modern vintage vibe to it where it's just, if you're looking for a spring fragrance to make you smell classy yet like you're wearing the fragrance that's perfect for the season, that is Polo Cologne Intense. It is one of my ultimate spring fragrances, if not like top 2. I love this stuff, and I didn't realize how big of a reaction. I had it in my collection for like a year, and I never wore it. I finally wore it the one time. My wife just gave me the best reaction. I realized I actually love this stuff a lot. So don't let cheaper brands like Ralph Lauren and stuff like that draw you away from wearing that fragrance all the time or anything like I have with a few of them. Like, it's just because it's a $40 or $30 fragrance doesn't mean it's not better than a $300 fragrance. And that's what this one is. I'm telling you, the mintiness, the herbaceous tones, a little bit of wood, the citrus up top. Oh, it's just absolutely beautiful, bright, green, fresh, clean. And that kind of rhymed. Going to the next one. This one was sadly just discontinued. It's my favorite blue from the big 3 blue brands. It was discontinued. It's being repackaged into a blue bottle with a refillable top, as well as adding pine and a few other things. But the last time they reformulated the EDT, it wasn't as good. The EDP, it wasn't as good. And I'm guessing it's going to be the same with this one. So go pick it up if you haven't. It's YSL Wailet Parfum. YSL Wailet Parfum. It takes that Y DNA, the clary sage, geranium, apple. It's fruity, fresh, clean, aromatic blue. And it takes that and it just darkens it, deepens it a little bit, adds that tonka bean, gets some sweetness going on in there. Oh, it's sexy. Yeah, it's sexy. Anytime I wear this, people are just like, what are you wearing? I'm like, yeah, it's good, isn't it? I'm telling you, for the big 3 blue brands, this is the best one. I know some people will say Bleu de Chanel Parfum or whatever. I actually didn't put a Bleu de Chanel on this list because I actually don't get big compliments on Bleu de Chanel. I don't get big compliments on Sauvage either. I don't get big compliments on Aqua de Jo outside of Profumo. That one gets some good compliments. And Absolute. But with that said, I have to say, this one gets me compliments from work. It gets compliments at freaking Krispy Kreme. I don't go to Krispy Kreme, but just in case I did. I don't even have one in my area, so I don't know why that came to my brain. Now I want a donut. But with that said, it's just a fantastic blue fragrance. Tonka, the amberwood, it's sweet, warm, just really, really nice. Going into one that's built for the summer, it activates in the heat. It really mixes well with tropical fragrances if you're looking for a mojito style fragrance. And it really added on to one of the best summertime fragrance releases ever, which was the original Eau de Toilette. This is Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Eau Intense. It's hard to knock this one. Fresh, clean citrus. You get that bergamot in there, and then you get the grapefruit from the lime, then you mix that all together, and you add a little bit of this kind of like marine accord, and then on top of that, you get the woody tones, like a little bit of an amberwood. You get this kind of like watery musk. Very beautiful fragrance. It activates in the heat. It's fresh, it's clean, it's zingy, and it mixes together with things like Virgin Island water, Set Sail St. Bart's, and makes this kind of like tropical like mojito. Very beautiful, great in the heat. Lasts about 6 hours, which most fragrances like this don't. It's a perfect poolside fragrance. Absolutely amazing. If I had to choose one, this would be it as far as like the zingy summertime heat fragrances. I would also try out Eau Givre, which I actually forgot I had until right now. That would be a good one too. Another summertime fragrance, and also great for the spring. One of my favorite fragrances, you guys know all about it, Lacoste Blanc Eau Fraiche. Another one, don't hate on the cheap brand, Lacoste. Yeah. This is probably my favorite fresh fragrance of all time. I will continue to say that. You can see how much, I mean, this is like a 2-year-old bottle and it's just about gone. Already went through another one of these, but it was a smaller version. It's one of the most crisp, clean, green Ambroxan ginger fragrances. It has this pickled ginger, so it's not like the ginger fragrances you get from like Tigars, Suspiro Vibrato. It's not like that. It has this pickled ginger mixed together with citrus and Ambroxan, and then it also has some green tones. So it's I've always said this. It's like walking through a forest on a windy spring day and having a basket of citrus, and just smelling it. It's breezy, airy, green, clean. It's just absolutely amazing. And then you get this nice bright woods underneath it coming from that effervescent Ambroxan. But yeah, Lacoste Blanc Eau Fraiche. It's just fantastic. I need to buy another bottle of it ASAP. Going into the last half. So those were the first 6. Now we're going into the next 6. So the next one I also cheated because this is going to be a twofer. They're both in the same line technically. It's just I couldn't choose which one. And I was like, you know what? I'm just putting both of them in as one. So you guys can fault me for whatever. But this is Chanel's Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. And the one that kind of just ties it is pretty much the entire line, to be honest with you. But I had to have to say Allure Homme Edition Blanche. I couldn't go without them, so I'm going to sneak it in. And then I'm going to tape them together so you can't see it whenever I'm doing my For Life. So whenever the auditor comes to see if I only have 12 fragrances, it's going to be like this, so you're not going to be able to see it. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. But, I mean, it's the most versatile fragrance of all time. And then this one takes the DNA and it just turns it into like a lemon cream pie. But this is just an aromatic, woody fragrance that has this nice, beautiful, creamy sandalwood. And then you add vanilla throughout the whole fragrance. And then it's just beautiful. It has a slight floral touch to it. But it's just a nice, sweet aromatic that isn't overly sweet. It's also mature. It can be worn in really any situations, from going out on a date to going to work to riding your bike. Doesn't really matter. And then again, this one is lemon, a little bit of a floral undertone. Then you get sandalwood and vanilla, a tonka, and you mix them all together to have this kind of like lemon cream pie, but again has this mature feeling to it. Absolutely fantastic fragrance. Both of them are great. This one's more for the warm weather, while the other one can be worn anytime. Really, both of them can be worn anytime. But now we're gonna go with 2 night out fragrances. This one was rumored to be discontinued. Now it's back, and I honestly don't know. But this is Prada L'Homme Intense. It's my favorite designer iris style fragrance, and I'm gonna need it if I'm looking for something clean. But warm. It has a nice little warm spice, a little bit of a clean spice to it as well. And then you have that beautiful iris that comes in. So again, designer iris. It does have the powdery tones to it. But the reason I like this more than all the others, the Valentina Uomo Intense, the Givenchy's, is because this one has this kind of ambery overtone that really melds together very well with the iris to make it feel less powdery, to give it more of a mass appeal to it, but also have this like mature vibe where it's going to put a little hair in your chest, but at the same time it's also going to not smell that masculine. So it's not going to be a hyper masculine like leather spice, but it has that style stuff in it. And that's what I really like about it. And I'm getting really too excited about this fragrance. It's like, I love it. Anyway, and then the other one is Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Male Le Parfum. This one, it's an Oriental spiced vanilla fragrance. It takes the original's DNA, it modernizes it, adds in this kind of beautiful cardamom to give it a nice Oriental spice to it. And then the vanilla in it is just so delectable. And then you get a little bit of lavender. It's just absolutely fantastic. I don't know what's going on with this fragrance, because if you would have asked me 2 years ago, I mean, there was like 50% of Fragcom that hated it, 50% liked it. And most of the time, it was like the ones who liked mass appeal usually didn't love this. But now, my 12-year-old nephew said that 8 of his friends have this bottle. And so he bought the bottle. So 12-year-olds have an Oriental, Middle Eastern spiced fragrance. I just don't get it. It smells great, but not for a freaking 12-year-old. But it's just absolutely amazing. It is good for pretty much any age, like 18 plus. But I would go more higher end, 30 to 60 is where this one really falls in line. But the vanilla in it, it's delectable, so I can see why people do like it. It's just that Oriental spiced cardamom lavender mixture. Just don't find it for a younger crowd. Anyway, that is definitely one I would keep from my winter fragrances. And now I'm going to tell you one that you guys are probably going to be like, that's in your for life fragrances. It sure is, because it blends together with so many other fragrances. It blends together. I can layer it with 3 other fragrances on this list: the Spice Bomb, the YSL, and the Most Wanted. Oh, actually 4, because I've paired it with the Prada as well. But not only that, it is always, since 2002, 2001, it's always been in my collection. It's Boss Bottled. And I don't care if the performance now is 5 hours, 4 hours. It's the beautiful apple pie. Again, I'm not picking any discontinued fragrances. If I could pick discontinued fragrances, my list would be missing 6 of these and adding in 6 other ones, like Boss Bottled, Eau de Parfum Intense, 1 Million Privé. Like, those fragrances are lifers. Wanted by Night, those fragrances are lifers for me. But I had to pick this one over the EDP Intense because that one's discontinued. So if I had to go and buy 12 fragrances right now, this would be one. And you could tell how much I wear it. It's a beautiful apple pie sandalwood fragrance with a little bit of plum mixed in there, even though the plum is very muted. But if you're looking for like a fresh apple pie, that's what this fragrance smells like. It's beautiful. I get compliments on it all the time, even now to this day. You don't smell many people wearing it, even though it's always been super popular, and it's pretty much in any store to buy, and it's like you can buy a bottle for $30 now. Boss Bottled is still immaculate. I mean, and Boss has really been killing it, but I still go back to this one. It's very easy to wear. It's delectable, semi-gourmand, fruity, very, very nice. Going into the last 2. So this one is kind of like, it was my signature scent in 2022. I still wear it all the time. It's my favorite to wear if I'm feeling classy, want to do an interview, or if I'm giving an interview, or if I'm meeting up with a client or something like that. This is great. Dior Homme Sport 2021. Pink pepper dominant. It takes that Dior Homme DNA and it makes it fresh, zingy, aldehydic, and then you add in this like kind of like pink pepper that brings a little bit of sweetness, some spice, and it's just very nice. It is sweet and spice, very nice. But you just get that pink pepper in there in the aldehydes, and that's what the fragrance is in a nutshell. It's a sparkling, zingy, aldehydic pink pepper fragrance. That's what it is at its core, which is going to be fresh, higher class. This is going to be something that you can wear, and it's great in the heat, but it's going to, even if you're wearing, you could dress it up and wear a suit and go to a wedding, or you could dress it down and wear gym shorts and a t-shirt, and this would smell good in either situation. It really does change based on what you're wearing. I've smelled it when I was wearing a suit, and it kind of came off a little bit more pink pepper. It came off a bit more like classy, but when I was wearing a t-shirt and gym shorts, it was like I got a little bit more of the citrus from it. So I'm not sure why that was the way it was. It could just be in my head, probably is. But Dior Homme Sport 2021, it's a fantastic signature scent. You always have to have one of those. It's a non-blue signature, and that's what it is. And then going to the last one. This is one of the first fragrances I got when I started my channel. I got one of those Sephora kits where you get 15 decants and you get a free gift card, and you get to choose which decant you like the best, and you get a free bottle of it. I did a tournament with my wife and daughter. We all did blind smelling, and this one won. Valentino Uomo Born in Roma. Smells like none of the other ones in the line. I still think that this is the best one in the line, but I need to always have this. It has kind of like almost like that sweet Invictus bubblegum smell, muted. And I've said muted now twice in this video, but it is. It's like that sweet bubblegum style fragrance, but muted into the background while you have this kind of salty mineralic top that just is on top of the fragrance. It is great for nights out, but it has this clean freshness to it, but also this night out bubbly vibe to it that I really enjoy. And out of all the other ones in the line that just bring a crap ton of sweetness, whether it's through vanilla or candy apple or whatever it's doing, this one is going to be a little bit more mature, because even though it does have that slight bubblegum style vibe muted underneath it, it's really focused around that kind of mineralic vibe, which is why I really, really dig this fragrance. For the longest time, I could have had this as one of my only fragrances in my collection. I was wearing it like I had 30, 40 fragrances, and I was wearing only this because I just love it so much. And again, you guys can hate on me for any of these fragrances, saying it like boss bottled, whatever. This is what I choose. I love wearing them. My wife loves when I wear them. So I am who I am. I wear what I wear, and I think that they are all fantastic. So if I had to choose 12 fragrances for life, those would be it. And yes, I always have a hard time describing this fragrance because there's two different facets. Again, it's like a bubblegum style fragrance, and on the other side of it, it has that like mineralic vibe. And it's like hard to describe a mineralic vibe in my opinion. It does have a bit of aromatics, a bit of like a salty spice to it, but yeah, it has the bubblegum undertone too, but it's muted. With that said, let me know some of your favorites, but if I had to pick 10 or 12 designer fragrances for life, those would be it. All right, well, hopefully you guys had a great time watching this video. I'll be back with another one. Peace.